Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtuprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naitiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home, text number 42 onwards. So Narad Muni is speaking with Yudhishthira Maharaj about when Yudhishthira Maharaj asked him what happened to my uncles and great ascetic aunt Gandhari. So text 42. Yatha gavo nasi protas tantyam baddhascha damabhi Vaktantyam nama bhirbadha vahanti balim ishitu. As a cow bound through the nose by a long rope is conditioned, so also human beings are bound by different Vedic injunctions and are conditioned to obey the orders of the Supreme. Just a sec. Purport. Every living being, whether a man or an animal or a bird, thinks that he is free by himself. But actually, no one is free from the severe laws of the Lord. The laws of the Lord are severe because they cannot be disobeyed in any circumstance. The man made laws may be evaded by cunning outlaws, but in the courts of the supreme lawmaker, there is not the slightest possibility of neglecting the laws. A slight change in the course of God made law can bring about a massive danger to be faced by the lawbreaker. Such laws of the Supreme are generally known as the codes of religion under different conditions, but the principle of religion everywhere is one and the same, namely to obey the orders of the Supreme God, the codes of religion. Disobedience to these codes is a condition of material existence. All living beings in the material world have taken up the risk of conditioned life by their own selection and are thus entrapped by the laws of material nature. So, this material world is working under the laws. These laws are the codes given in the scriptures. So, and everybody is basically under these laws. We think we are independent, we think we are beyond these laws, but nobody is beyond these laws, especially the laws of everybody has to go through birth, old age, disease, death. There's nobody who can avoid this law. And Prabhupada is writing, all living beings in the material world have taken up the risk of conditioned life. So we are conditioned. Conditioned, Prabhupada will explain further, by their own selection and are thus entrapped by the laws of material nature. So condition is what? In the words it is mentioned, just like a cow is bound by a long rope. So cow is conditioned that she cannot go outside that rope. Within that confinement of the rope, she can do as much as she likes, whatever she likes. But this is the conditioning. Like us, we have this human body, and in this human body, we have certain capacities or capabilities being given to us according to our previous karmas. So we are conditioned. So this is our conditioning. Our eyes can only see when there is certain amount of light available. The ears can only hear between certain frequency. Below that frequency, our ears cannot hear, and above that frequency, we cannot hear anything. Similarly, other body parts have the conditions. So that this is the conditioning. This is the specifications. for us that we can work under. That's it. Similarly, other living entities have their own conditions. So the only way to get out of the entanglement is to agree to obey the Supreme. But instead of becoming free from the clutches of Maya or illusion, foolish human beings become bound up by different nomenclatures, being designated as Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Hindus, Mohammedans, Indians, Europeans, Americans, Chinese, and many others. And thus they carry out the orders of the Supreme Lord under the influence of respective scriptural or legislative injunctions. The statutory laws of the state are imperfect imitation replicas of religious codes. So the laws of the states are imperfect imitations, replicas of religious codes. Why? Because these laws keep on changing. They are made by conditioned people who are imperfect in their senses, and then these laws keep on changing. As these laws are basically provided for the proper upkeep of the society. So the requirements and the needs of the society change, so the laws can change. But the real law of the spiritual world, of the religion, that cannot change. It doesn't change. The secular state or the godless state allows the citizens to break the laws of God, but restricts them from disobeying the laws of the state. So the secular state or godless allows a citizen to break the laws of God. What is the law of God? Like one law is if you kill an animal, you have to take the punishment. You have to suffer. But the state allows killing of animals, wholesale killing of animals, and they say, "Oh, it's okay," because our law says it's okay to kill the animal. But still, we cannot disobey the laws of religion and think we are there nothing will happen. We'll not get a reaction. We'll definitely get the reaction. Every man is imperfect by constitution and the conditions of material existence, and there is not the least possibility that even the most materially advanced man can enact perfect legislation. On the other hand, there is no such imperfection in the laws of God. If leaders are educated in the laws of God, there is no necessity of a makeshift legislative council of aimless men. There is necessity of change in the makeshift laws of man, but there is no change in the God made laws because they are made perfect by the all perfect personality of Godhead. So Krishna is perfect, so his laws are perfect, everything is perfect. Perfect in the sense, perfect for proper upkeep of the society, and perfect for our spiritual advancement if we follow the laws properly. The codes of religion, scriptural injunctions are made by liberated representatives of God in consideration of different conditions of living. And by carrying out the orders of the Lord, the conditioned living beings gradually become free from the clutches of material existence. The factual position of the living being is, however, that he is the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. In his liberated state, he renders service to the Lord in transcendental love and thus enjoys a life of full freedom, even sometimes on an equal level with the Lord, or sometimes even more than the Lord. More than the Lord means in the sense that somebody can become a father of Krishna or a mother of Krishna or at that level of being a parent of Krishna. So Krishna in the as a son, he will be fully obedient to his parents or the devotees who are at that level of his parents. But in the conditioned material world, every living being wants to be the lord of other living beings, and thus by the illusion of Maya, this mentality of lording it over becomes a cause of further extension of conditioned life. So, in the material world, the living being is still more conditioned until he surrenders unto the Lord by reviving his original state of eternal survivorship. So Narad Muni explained that everybody is conditioned in this material world, unless until we take shelter of Krishna. So text 43. Yatha kridopaskaranam sanyog vigam aviha ichya kriditu syatam tata veshe chya nridham. As a player sets up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them. So ultimately, um, although we are conditioned, we are in the material world and we have to follow the laws of Krishna. And actually, there is nothing in our control. Krishna brings us together and Krishna separates us. It's all up to him. All we have is little desire. That's all. To be united with some particular jiva. But whether that wish will be fulfilled or not, only Krishna knows. We must know for certain that the particular position in which we are now set up is an arrangement of the supreme will in terms of our own acts in the past. The Supreme Lord is present as a localized Paramatma in the heart of every living being, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita 13:23, and therefore he knows everything of our activities in every stage of our lives. So he knows, because he is sitting as Paramatma in our heart, he knows everything of our activities. And in fact, not just our activities, every thought also that we take, that we think of. He knows everything. He rewards the reactions of our action by placing us in some particular place. A rich man gets his son born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but the child who came as a rich man's son deserved such a place, and therefore he is placed there by the will of the Lord. And at a particular moment, when the child has to be removed from that place, he is also carried by the will of the Supreme, even if the child or the father does not wish to be separated from the happy relation. So, even if the child is born in a rich father's house, but when the time comes, the child has to be removed or the father has to be removed, it is going to be done. Nobody can stop that. The same thing happens in the case of a poor man also. Neither rich man nor poor man has any control over such meetings or separations of living beings. The example of a player and his playthings should not be misunderstood. One may argue that since the Lord is bound to avoid the reactionary results of our own actions, the example of a player cannot be applied. But it's not so. We must always remember that the Lord is a supreme will and he is not bound by any law. Generally, the law of karma is that one is awarded the results of one's own actions. But in special cases, by the will of the Lord, such resultant actions are changed also. So Krishna can change the resultant actions. Because Krishna can change the reactions if he wants to. And just like Prabhupada has once given an example somewhere else, that whatever actions we do, the reactions are given by Yamraj, not Krishna himself personally, because Yamraj um, is a authority for that. Just like if some person commits a crime and the Supreme Court justice can give him some punishment, but the president of the country can still pardon him, even if the Supreme Court justice had given him punishment. So even if Yamraji has given some punishment to us as a matter of our own actions, but Krishna can still pardon us. So that is Krishna's jurisdiction. That is Krishna's authority. But this change can be effected by the will of the Lord only and no other. Therefore, the examples of the players cited in this verse is quite appropriate. For the Supreme Will is absolutely free to do whatever he likes. And because he is all perfect, there is no mistake in any of his actions or reactions. These changes of resultant actions are especially rendered by the Lord when a pure devotee is involved. It is assured in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord saves a pure devotee who has surrendered unto him without reservation from all sorts of reactions of sins. And there is no doubt about this. There are hundreds of examples of reactions changed by the Lord in the history of the world. If the Lord is able to change the reactions of one's past deeds, then certainly he is not himself bound by any action or reaction of his own deeds. He is perfect and transcendental to all laws. So that just like it is said, the king is above the law. So similarly, Krishna is not bound up by the laws because he himself can't um, over or go beyond the laws. He himself can change everything. But generally, like Prabhupada did say, in case of pure devotees, he can change or he changes. But in general, for anybody or everybody, he does not change these laws. There's a wonderful story in the scriptures. Once there was a meeting of all the Devi Devtas in one of the heavenly planets, and Yamraj ji happened to go there. He was also invited, so he happened to go there. So when he was entering the palace where the meeting was going to take place, at the door, at the gate of the palace, he saw a little bird sitting there. And when he saw that little bird, he just looked at it and he just shook his head in and just like that, and then he entered that gate and went into the palace. So somehow Garudji was sitting there. He was behind Yamraji, and he saw Yamraji was shaking his head like that. So Garudji got some pity on that little bird, and he thought that Yamraji, because he's a lord of death, so this little bird, Garudji thought, I have to save her, I have to protect her. So Garudji picked up that bird and flew all over the universe, and he went to a different planet. Garuji can do that. And and in that planet he went to a mountain, and in that mountain he put that bird in a cave. And then he came back. And then he met Yamraji in the meeting. When Yamraji came out, yeah, by the time Garuji came, the meeting was there, and when the meeting was over, they all came out. Yamraji came out, and Yamraji again looked at the gate, and the bird wasn't there. And then Yamraji again shook his head. Garuji was again following him, and Garuji now was curious. He asked him, why did you shake your head in the first place when you entered? And now again you shook your head. Yamraji said, actually, when I looked at that bird when I entered, I shook my head because looking at that bird, I was surprised because that bird was not supposed to be here at this moment. She was supposed to die in some other planet in a cave inside the mountain. And when I came out, I didn't see the bird there. Then I understood, oh, Krishna has made the arrangement for that bird to be there in that planet, in that cave of that mountain. And then Garudji realized, see, when the death comes, nobody can avoid. So yeah, Krishna used Garudji to carry that bird to that cave in that planet where that bird was supposed to meet her death. So we cannot avoid many things in our life, except, of course, when Krishna says um, in Bhagavad Gita or the that famous words of Bhagavad Gita, When Krishna says, just surrender unto me and I'll take care of all the sins. Do not worry. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. But in case of pure devotees, he can change the laws. Of course, in case of little bitty devotees, neophyte devotees like us, he can change. But the change, that also depends upon him. The change does not necessarily mean he will remove the reactions. The change could be he can give us some extra reactions, which, and basic, primarily his reason is to make us more surrendered. If something or somehow or for some reason we are not surrendering, and Krishna wants us to surrender, although the desire is there in the heart, but outwardly we are not surrendering, then Krishna will create some situations by which we have to surrender out of, maybe out of frustration or out of helplessness or out of any other reason. So Krishna can give extra reactions also. That's all up to him. But whatever he does, it will be for our benefit. That's for sure. So that much faith we have to have in Krishna. A devotee means he has to have faith. Without faith, one cannot become a devotee. So here Narad Muni is basically making a foundation for his statements to tell Yudhishthira Maharaj where Dhritarashtra and Gandhari have gone. So he didn't straight away say the things. He's telling some little philosophy before he tells Yudhishthira Maharaj. Text 44. Yanmanyase dhruvam lokam adhruvam vana chobhayam sarvata nahi shochyaste snehad anyatra mohajat. O king, in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle, or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feelings of separation are only due to illusory affection and nothing more. So basically, Krishna had also given this kind of knowledge to Arjun in Bhagavad Gita. The actual fact is that every living being is an individual part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and his constitutional position is subordinate cooperative service, either in his conditional material existence or in his liberated position of full knowledge and eternity. The living entity is eternally under the control of the Supreme Lord. So we are eternally under the control of Supreme Lord. Eternally. Eternally means no beginning and no end. We are always. But those who are not conversant with factual knowledge but put forward many speculative propositions about the real position of the living entity. It is admitted, however, by all schools of philosophy that the living entity is eternal and the covering body of the five material elements is perishable and temporary. The eternal living entity transmigrates from one material body to another by the law of karma, and material bodies are perishable by their fundamental structures. Therefore, there is nothing to be lamented in case of the souls being transferred into another body, or the material bodies perishing at a certain stage. So, material body is going to perish. It's going to dwindle. It's going to go away. It is temporary, and the soul is permanent. And soul is going to get separated from this body. How much we try to protect the body, soul is going to leave it one of these days. So what Narad Muni is saying, and when Krishna also told Arjun, we have to develop detachment from this body, understanding we are not this body. And this point that we are souls, we are not this body, Srila Prabhupada kept on hammering in his lectures till the last moment of his life. It's so important for us to understand. And we keep on forgetting it in our day-to-day lives, in our dealings with others. We keep on forgetting this point. For us to make proper advancement in bhakti, we have to remember this. And then our dealings with others, and then our outlook, our thinking, our consciousness will definitely change. So, first we have to change from bodily consciousness to at least come to spiritual consciousness, soul consciousness, and then we can become Krishna conscious. So, at least we have to come to that level. Of course, the process is only chanting and service. So that process we have to adopt very nicely, very seriously, and then slowly, by mercy of Krishna, by our own efforts, we will develop that consciousness. But it's difficult. It's not easy because we've been thinking in terms of body. I am this body for the last millions and millions and millions of lifetimes. And everybody thinks like that, beginning from small ant all the way to Brahmaji. Everybody thinks I am this body. So this is what Narad Muni is also trying to tell Yudhishthira Maharaj. And further on, he will give some more philosophical points. So we'll stop here. See anybody is in questions or comments.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So true about Krishna
Thank you.
saving his devotees. We've seen that in the case of Prabhupada as well. In fact, till he had translated the entire Bhagavatam for us, all the books. In fact, I see those videos on YouTube. There's nothing in his body, but still, Krishna gave him so much strength. In the recent case of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj as well, but how Krishna saves. Amazing,
Yep.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Brahma. Hare Krishna. Any other question or comment?
Prabhuji, one
Okay.
question. In fact, here it is mentioned by Naradji that the rope in the nose of the cow.
Uh-huh.
So in the modern day, we see the nose of the cow, mother cow being pierced, and people put rope inside it. So is it the same thing that is being referred here?
Yep.
Uh, is it not painful to mother cow?
Uh, it must be painful, but this is how she's been tied up ever since.
Uh,
More than cow, it's a bull who's tied up like that. Actually, when the bull is used for uh, or either for farming or to grind something, it goes round and round. But why they do it through the nose, I don't know. There must be some reason.
to Prabhuji, anyways, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for pointing this out because although I read it, I never realized it. Didn't notice it properly. Okay. Thank you all very much. You all have a wonderful. I guess today is Ekadashi in India, right?
Tomorrow, Prabhuji.
Oh, it's
Last
tomorrow?
Ekadashi is tomorrow.
Okay, okay. So today I think Jhulan Yatra is starting.
Ah,
So please go take darshan or at least swing the Lord in at your home. It'll be great. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Jai
Hare
Srila
Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Roshi.
Jai
Hare
Shri
Krishna, Roshi. Thank you so much.